So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Uh, this is family. So this is my niece, and my son. Yeah. So welcome to Portland Spice
So it's father, niece, niece, son.
TV. You want to say hello? Say good morning. Say good morning to the people they're watching. Go, Bejali. Say good morning. Come forward, Bejali, so they can hear you. Tell them good morning and welcome.
Good morning and welcome.
Hold that. Why am I not here? Two. All right, let me turn up the mic. Mic up. Okay, go ahead now, Vejali.
Good morning and welcome to this TV show.
Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Make sure to subscribe.
You're not saying anything? So wave then. All right. Early bird catch a mouse worm. So, yeah, it's Christmas, and family is here. So, you know it go. Everybody there. Mother there. So, grandma is here too. Yeah.
She's over there.
Grandma is over there. hmm So all of your grandchildren, them, bro. Great grand about but great grand how forward later.
She's just not on the screen. So she's just right there.
hmm So what do you want to tell the people this morning? Because you always wanted me to go live. What do you want to tell the people?
I want to tell the people.
Come a little bit closer.
I'd want to thank everybody for being you, for being alive, and for being just for being here on this earth.
Okay.
Since this earth is very sinful. Thank you for being good people, and thank you for accepting the Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay. Visually, what you want to say? Come and say something. You're bright girl. Come.
Good morning, Jamaica.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, world.
All right. All right, guys. So you got your moment of fame. All right. Mwah. All right. You want to say something? What's up? Hmm? You want to say something? All right. You want to go? All right. Go on to grandma. All right. All right. See, them no are leaving. Them a star. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day. Enjoy yourself
It's your daddy.
and be quiet while daddy's on. All right?
Okay.
Mhm. All right. Yes, Rasta. So you see, all who they on early, gonna get a little treat. That's the children. This morning's a big show morning. So everybody were there on, lock the door for me, please. Everybody were there on, send out the link. Cause this morning, talk about big show morning. Very, very big show. So we're on before time. No visual? What do you mean no visual? How come you not see? Lexroy, Gregory, I don't know why you not see. Maybe you should have restart your machine. That is Lexroy. Only Lexroy say him not see. Everybody else sassy man. Yeah, I'm gonna register and call some people this morning because this morning I am going to be having Mr. Marlon Morgan from the Jamaica Labour Party. Put it right up in there, sir. Yeah? Put it on the lower one. Right. Yeah, man. Mr. Marlon Morgan from the Jamaica Labour Party is going to join us this morning. And then also, you know, you are going in Clarendon Municipal Corporation. So we are going to be joined by Minority Leader Cian Barneswell. He's going to join us also this morning. So he's going to join us about 10:20 after we talk to Mr. Marlon Morgan, because we're going to talk to Mr. Morgan first. You know, the IC report is out and all of that. But link up some people. Make some people know what is going to go on this morning. Serious morning this morning. Very, very serious morning. It's not 9 o'clock yet, you know. So share up the channel, send it out to all your contacts. Make them know that this morning, because I don't know me, you know, me not like sing to the choir. Me like hear contending views. So this morning, I am very happy that Mr. Morgan has accepted our invitation to join us this morning. Also, we're going to welcome Styles FM. We're going to welcome Caribbean Radio HD. Yeah. So, a big show morning. So everybody share up the channel. Send it out to all your contacts then, please, and thank you. So everybody share up the channel. Once a morning to the people in Uganda where join us. Dexter Daps is down in Uganda, will be performing today. They are ahead of us, so show time good all start anytime now. So we have people down in Uganda watch right now. Morning, everybody. Open to see my cake video. So who want Christmas cake? I am baking Christmas cake. Oh yeah. Things a man no baker. Hold on there. We'll get something going. We're multi-talented, you know. We told you all that we are multi-talented.
Madam Speaker, people of to take us out of the unprecedented crisis we are now facing. What they got was pure theatre. Parliament became a pantomime. If the people wanted drama, they could go to the little theatre or centre stage. But they were here in Parliament. The people want real answers to the problems facing them. The Minister of Finance says we're doing well. That is a fantasy. Who are the we of which he is speaking? Not the people in my constituency, not the people in East Rural St. Andrew or the people in Southeast St. Elizabeth. Only a few, the well-connected and the fortunate, are making money and living well. Many Jamaicans are living hand to mouth. They can't pay the bills. They are feeling the burdens of an economy pressured by 2 years of COVID-19 and now the Russia-Ukraine war. That is their reality. Madam Speaker, there is no balance in our society. We have a deeply unequal society, still divided into the haves and have-nots. The budget presented by the government will perpetuate and indeed worsen that inequality. The pandemic has severely impacted the world economy, and Jamaica was not spared. Having suffered a decline in real GDP of over 10% in 2020, we have not yet fully recovered the lost ground. The main economic legacy of the pandemic has been a spike in inflation. This has been caused by various factors, including increased world demand for goods versus services, supply chain disruptions affecting world trade, and geopolitical tensions affecting world commodity prices, including oil and gas, but also many other commodities. The reality is that Jamaica is now facing a major onslaught from the effects of the war in Ukraine and the sanctions imposed on Russia. Russia is a major exporter of oil and gas, and the price of oil has rocketed to over $100 a barrel. JPS, the Jamaica Public Service Company, has already warned of higher electricity costs. Indeed, Jamaica Public Service has called for a national response and is suggesting that the government suspends the taxes on fuel and the GCT on electricity sales to give paying customers some relief during this period. Motorists, taxi drivers, and other transport operators are already seeing massive increases in the cost of gas at the pump. Last Thursday, our shadow spokesperson for finance, MP Julian Robinson, in an excellent and revealing presentation, showed that the ex-refinery price of gas has increased by some 60% in the 12 months through to February 2022. He also showed the massive hikes in basic food prices over the last 12 months, graphically using charts. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia will make things even worse for Jamaicans. Russia and Ukraine are major producers of grains, and the prices of wheat, corn, and other grains are already flying through the roof, and so many other products rely on those basics, including all baked products. Ukraine and Russia are also major suppliers of agricultural fertilizers and chemicals to the entire world. This means that food production around the world will be seriously affected. Sadly, the high inflation that consumers have endured over the past year is only going to get worse. Jamaicans will face higher prices for basic food items, for electricity, for water, because of the high electricity content in the production of water, and of course, transportation. This tidal wave of higher prices will flow through to other items as well. Madam Speaker, mothers will struggle to feed their children. More children will face hunger and malnutrition. Even those who are working will not be able to make ends meet. For the working poor, their meager salaries will not stretch far enough to cover the price increases. So very dark days are ahead for our people, Madam Speaker. The country is indeed on the brink of a deep crisis. This budget that has been tabled by the government has very few real solutions to this crisis. It is clear that the budget was put together without a strategic response to protect Jamaicans from the economic fallout of the war in Ukraine. It reminds me of the budget of March 2020, 2 years ago, which did not account for the impact of COVID and had to be substantially overhauled by a supplementary budget about 2 months later. While this budget is based on a fantasy, the Jamaican people live in reality. They have to face a crisis head on as they try to feed their families and pay their bills. At this time, reality demands that the government cushion the crisis and gives our people some ease from the heavy burdens. There is nothing in this budget that will give protection to the people who need it most. The government has not protected the people from what they will be facing. The government has no meaningful provisions to protect them from the onslaught of higher prices that are coming. We demand that more be done to ease the burdens on the Jamaican people. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Finance is more worried about appeasing the credit rating agencies and the capital markets than providing relief for the suffering people of Jamaica. The Jamaican people must be our priority. Prime Minister, please make the people your priority and cushion the crisis. We can always recover lost ground in our effort to lower debt when the crisis has passed. Last week, Tuesday, the minister beat his chest and colleagues on that side beat their desks as he announced that there will be no new taxes. I say to the people of Jamaica, do not be fooled by the hype. The government plans to collect $99 billion more in taxes this coming fiscal year than the year just ending. 99 billion more taxes from the people. Imagine, this is happening in a year when many have not recovered from the COVID recession and many more are facing hunger and sufferation from the effects of the war in Ukraine. $99 billion more in taxes, Madam Speaker. This is unconscionable in a time like this. We believe, Madam Speaker.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of waters, bringeth forth fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. We're not talking about the ungodly them this morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Styles FM 96.1, 96.5, 96.7. Caribbean Radio HD. You know we're on those every Tuesday night. Live. Yes, man. I beg you, those of you who have not yet subscribed to the channel, we are on our way to 3,000 subscribers. So we ask you please to subscribe, click on the notification bell, because this is where we have substance, you know. We're not just vlogging or blogging. We are educating the people. Information we're giving out. Solid information. On this station, Portland Spice TV, we claim truth. Just the truth. Simple. Unadulterated truth. That's what we want to give to our people. We never claim to be the wealth of all knowledge or all information. And if we get something wrong, we are not afraid to come back and say, we get something wrong. So, we invite each and everyone on the platform. All sides, no sides. We want you to be here. And we don't like singing to the choir. We want to hear contending views. And sometimes I miss DP because him views contending, but sometimes him reasoning very low, you know the quality, but sometimes him think good. And we like contending views because DP not always a say where we are say. And I like that. And I have been reaching out over time to members of the Jamaica Labour Party to come onto this platform. And let's have frank and honest discussions. Because sometimes from our vantage point, we see things different. Because remember now, me telling you straight, me no go around no corner, me no hide it from nobody, that I am a member of the People's National Party. And I am more than an ordinary member. Me have whole heap of positions in the party. I am the Deputy Shadow Minister of Culture and the Creative Industry. I am the Vice Chairman for Region 2, which consists of St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary. I am the Chairman of the East Portland constituency. You understand? And me go out there, me advocate. But you see the difference with Colin SHACKA Fame Bell? I see politics as an instrument to make people's lives better. I am not the kind of politician where want war nobody over politics or malice nobody over politics. Politics must be used as the tool. And hold on there. Don't make politics use you. So I have often said it here that I have more respect for a labor right than for somebody who don't vote. You understand what I say? Because the people when don't vote, you are a major part of the problem in this country. Yeah, major part of the problem. Because you are willing to sit down and criticize. Criticize the PNP, criticize the GLP, but when the annual general meeting is called, you don't participate. I have seen independent candidates run. I don't vote for them neither. So it's not that you don't say you don't have no option. You don't just no business with the country. You don't care. And then you don't complain about crime and violence. You don't complain about poor health care. You don't complain about the road. And you don't complain about every God Almighty thing. But you don't decide to participate in the management of the country. It's we choose the managers. And I say God bless the PNP and the GLP. Because since independence, they have been managing the country. And say what you want to say about the two political parties. Where would we be without them? I want somebody to explain that to me. Where would we be without the two political parties? Who would have run Jamaica? Still the king? Let me tell you something. This is our country. And we need to participate in the running of the country. So, with that said, I am very happy that Mr. Morgan has accepted my invitation. Last week, we were waiting on former councillor for the St. Margaret's Bay Division. Well, he touched base with me at about 9:30 when we were wrapping up the program. But I hope that he will come on and talk to us because it's somebody who we talk to on a regular basis. Yeah? We not bully nobody when they come on my show as guests. We ask simple questions. Very simple questions. Because let me tell you something about the art of journalism. They call it the 4W. Why, when, how, and what. Them, they are the questions. You know. Why, when, what, and how. So a 3W with an H. An H, yes. So let's look at the week. The week that was. Yesterday news came that Marissa Dalrymple Philibert will have to face the court. They had applied to the court to throw out the ruling of the Integrity Commission. And the court says no. You have a case to answer to. So, Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, a report from the Integrity Commission stated that she never gave all the information. She omitted a Mercedes-Benz that she bought with duty concession. And in her filing, she never mentioned it. And even when I asked about it, she said she never have it. And it's when the Integrity Commission come up with proof. And therefore, they charged her. And instead of just resigning as Speaker of the House, she decided to throw in the entire kitchen sink and resign as Member of Parliament. Left representational politics. Now, what is strange is that the reasons for her resignation have not been resolved. But she ran again for office. And of course she won, and she's back in the parliament at a cost of $30 billion. 30 million Jamaican, sorry. 30 million. So, also, the whole argument now is about the word of the MP. Face the judge, Mama D. Yeah, the argument now about the Integrity Commission and the house, the townhouses that is being built by Estate Bridge, a company set up by the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister is no longer a shareholder in that company. Integrity Commission is saying that there are connections. And we spoke about it Tuesday night. Spoke about it Tuesday night at length. And we have heard statements now from the directors of Estate Bridge. We have heard statement from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is saying that he has no connection with the company. So that is making the news all over the place. Making the news. But people, Jamaica is in a serious place. And I don't like when so much issues just float around. And people are saying, in fact, the Prime Minister says he feels targeted by the Integrity Commission. But let's go down to Clarendon. And why we're going to talk to Sian Barneswell this morning as well. At the end of the February election, general local government election, the Clarendon Municipal Corporation had 12 GLP councillors to 10 PNP councillors. So they form, by way of law, the GLP of the mayor of the municipality. Morning, Gilly. Morning, Denise. But after the Edentown by-election, the situation has changed. And therefore, there is now 11 aside. Each side of a cricket team. So, who going to be the umpire of the match? One side is saying that me already have the umpire. Me now give it up. Based on the laws in Europa, it says that once me name mayor, me have to stay mayor. If you can't move me by a vote of no confidence, and the vote of no confidence can only come after 12 months. The other side is saying that, listen, we have the majority vote, and based on the law, it says that the side that have the majority votes must choose the mayor, and then the next side get the deputy mayor, and the committees must be shared. But the law governing the parish councils are silent on what happens if there's a by-election and the status change. Some people are saying the PNP should leave it. Some people are saying take it to the court. I am saying take it to the court because this can happen again. And that's how a young democracy is built, because you have to use precedents. And there's no precedents in law on this one. So you get an opportunity now to set the precedents, and therefore you ought to go to court and set the precedents. Jamaica is a rolling soap opera. Yeah? We don't know. It can't be a mini-series because a mini-series have a middle and an ending. Soap opera, you don't really have no end. You can just meander along. And that's what we're doing as a country. Whole heap of things. Whole heap of things. So we're learning. We're learning. The other problem is the issue with our hotel workers. And one more set of hotel workers took to the street this week down in Montego Bay. We have to sort that issue out because we are right at the start of the tourist season. Right at the start of the tourist season. And it is vital, you know, to our economy that our tourist sector is looked after. Very fragile. And it's one of the few industries that is really bringing in foreign exchange to this country. And whether it's PNP or GLP in power, we have to take care of the goose that lays the golden egg. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about this morning, Nadia, is Port Antonio. I hear the people coming out and advocating for that airport down in Negril. And I want Portland people to listen. That's how you grow your community. People with influence must come out and advocate. Colin Bell, the sole voice of Portland. And we're not going to drop the title because we are still the voice of Portland. And we're still calling on the government to put a hole on the urban center. It is not the urban center that we need for Port Antonio. The urban center is good. Nothing wrong with the idea. But if it's a one money you have to spend at Portland, develop the East Harbor. I see the navigator of the sea come in and some people are praise some people. Praise them for what they did nothing. It is not the first time that the navigator of the seas is coming to Port Antonio. It's not the second time. It all come already and turn back. But what we need is the East Harbor development to accommodate mega liners in Port Antonio. To accommodate those ships that you will see 2,000 and 3,000 visitors coming off. And you will see 100 rafts coming down the Rio Grande. You will see hundreds of people at Reach Falls. Hundreds of people at Somerset Falls. Our transportation operators will make money. Our restaurants and clubs will make money. The economy of Port Antonio is flat. Flat. And we need to advocate more for the East Harbor development. That must be the priority for Portland. That will drive the economy. That will bring more revenue to Jamaica. So, I mentioned the Ocherius Airport project that we can understand that more of us need to be out there saying this. And nobody no need to feel like them I take my idea. It is what is needed for Portland. So I'm calling on both MP candidates and I'm calling on both MPs to start calling for the East Harbor development. If you don't mean Portland any good, it is the East Harbor development that will start driving the economy of Portland. Not just East Portland, but the entire Portland. My Portland people, whether you're Labour right or you're PNP, are calling on the GLP supporters to say to the two members of the parliament, East Harbor development is what we need. Are calling on the PNP supporters to say to the two candidates, East Harbor development is what we need. That is the fastest way to start driving the economy in Portland. You can do that development in 2 years or maybe less. And once you do that development, and we get the cruise ships. Because if you start by develop, I am saying one a week, we are going to get more than one per week. Portland is a gem. We have more natural attractions in Portland than any other single parish in Jamaica. So with our natural attractions, and then the cruise ship coming, and investors will now come and build more attractions here. So when a guy come tell me about urban center, we going to spend there. No money no that Portland. If we spend, people them now make no money. You are going to transfer jobs from downtown to uptown or uptown to downtown. It's not no new jobs. The East Harbor development is what will bring new jobs and real money to Portland. But As a people, we have to know what we want. We have to know what we want. As a people, we have to know what we want. And if we don't know what we want, anything we then throw at we are going to satisfy with it. Now, when you deal with a man like me, we know what me want to see happen around here. Some people have difficulties with it. I'm going to withdraw a statement I'm make. Statement them I'm make are my views. I'm stand by them. Solid views. But Portland Spice TV, one of the main reasons for this platform is to promote Portland, you know. That's why it named Portland Spice TV. Because we want to spice up Portland. We want our people to start benefit. Portland should have get royalties for cruise ship in Jamaica. Port Antonio is the first place a tourist step off a cruise ship in a Jamaica. In fact, the tourists start to come on the banana boat. That's where they started to come first, on the banana boat. And then the cruise ships start coming to Port Antonio. Because of a lack of leadership, we lost the edge we had. Because we never developed the place with the development of the cruise ships. And that has been a major problem in Portland for a long time. Failure of leadership. Weak leaders. Weak and inept leaders. And we sit down and watch the cruise ship them get bigger. And God has blessed us with a twin harbor. The West Harbor maybe could not accommodate, but a development of the East Harbor would. And I think a man named Gerald Tucker saw it and made an attempt. And it just left there so. Calling on the present leaders to step up to the plate. It is the East Harbor development that is needed. There are other things that we need to do. But I believe that the first order of business, if we want to develop Portland and grow the economy, the first thing that must be done is the East Harbor development. There's no two ways about it. So, tell them, say, the urban center is not the priority. That is not the priority. The priority is the East Harbor. I see my guests in the waiting room. Just waiting on him picture to come up. See him enter. All right. There we go. There we go. Blessings, my brother.
Morning, and greetings, Colin. And
I want to welcome my brother and friend, Marlon Morgan of the Jamaica Labour Party. Welcome, my brother.
Greetings, Colin. more popularly known in this space as SHACKA fame. And
Yes,
let me
sir.
say good morning and greetings to our viewers and those listening in on Styles FM over there in the northeastern end of the island in particular.
I almost mention also Caribbean Radio HD in New York and in Florida, internet radio as well.
Of course, and as
of
always,
course,
we
Port
greet our
and
brothers
Spice
and sisters
TV.
in the
So we have
diaspora.
multiple platforms we are on.
Well, absolutely, and I'm delighted to be joining you to, have a little conversation. We know the respective perspectives from whence we both come.
Of course, and we don't hide it.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier to my listeners, Marlon, I have more respect for a labor right than for a man who don't participate in the running of our country.
That's what I mean. Indeed,
yeah, man, it's the two political parties that keep this country going. Say what you want to say about we, but we keep the country going while I will sit on one side and criticize and decide to participate in the running of this country.
Absolutely.
So I welcome my brother. Marlon, I will have things we want to talk about this morning.
Sure.
Let's talk about the hot button topic first. The IC report, and they bring the Prime Minister into it. The Prime Minister says he's not connected to it. Give us your explanation.
All right. So just to be clear, Jamaica SHACKA, and for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, has had a particular sordid past in relation to instances of corruption and indeed allegations of corruption, particularly where our elected officials are concerned, persons who serve in government, for example, and other public officials. So we have that background, which is what necessitates an institution in Jamaica, such as the Integrity Commission. So it's a very important element in our anti-corruption framework and architecture, because we know that any dollar in Jamaica that is misused or misappropriated is $1 less to be used to bring water systems to the people of Jamaica, to bring roads to the Jamaican people, including roads to our good friends over there in Portland, both the west side and the east side. And so that's the context within which the Integrity Commission operates. And myself, other well-thinking Jamaicans, and my colleagues in the JLP, we know that there's an appropriate place for the Integrity Commission. In this instant case, the Integrity Commission was prompted to undertake an investigation based on a report, an allegation that was made, I suspect, by a member of the public, that was made on the 10th of July. And among other things, it alleged that a property owned by Andrew Holness was essentially constructing a dwelling in violation of its permit that would have been approved by the KSAMC. So that is what prompted it. Now, just for absolute clarity and thoroughness, your listeners and viewers ought to appreciate that in a previous dispensation, the entity that is undertaking that development up at Beverly Hills was, well, the Prime Minister had an interest in the entity, that being Estate Bridge. He was indeed a shareholder in the entity dubbed Estate Bridge. However, because the Prime Minister would have passed his shares in that entity, which he would have held through a company called Imperium Holdings, he essentially, by October 2022, would have relinquished his interest and his stake in the company that is doing the building up at Beverly Hills, the company called Estate Bridge. So it is not that the Prime Minister has no historical and antecedents where the development at Beverly Hills is concerned. What we're arguing is that, having regard to what took place in October 2022, the material allegations about constructing in a manner that conflicts with the approvals granted by the KSMC is not a matter that should embroil the Prime Minister, because whilst there are the antecedents, at this juncture here, and certainly by July of 2024, Andrew Holness was neither a shareholder nor a director in the entity Estate Bridge, which is undertaking the development.
Question, Mr. Morgan. When the building permit was applied for, was the Prime Minister a shareholder in Estate Bridge?
I would imagine so, because the project, because as you know, when you have a parcel of land and you conceptualize or you get to a point where you say, all right, tell you what, we're going to be developing the land in this way, we're going to be embarking on a project in this way. That would have been at a juncture in time, because as you know, these things don't happen overnight. You have to put the various documents in place, have your drawings, and you submit those to the municipal corporation to get building approval and whatnot. So at the instant time of the conceptualization and the approvals, I would imagine that the Prime Minister would have had an interest in Estate Bridge and an interest in the project at that juncture. So the short answer to that question is yes.
Right. So when the permit was sought,
when the conceptualization and the permit approval, the development approval, yeah.
So maybe even at the beginning of the construction, the Prime Minister was until 2022.
There you go, until October 2022.
But wouldn't you agree with me that having his young son, as one of the directors and his sister, wouldn't you agree that the Prime Minister would still have an interest in Estate Bridge?
All right, so that's a good question, because family members of the Prime Minister have, to the extent that they have an interest in the property and are indeed shareholders in the property, it would come across as though it would touch and concern the PM, because anything that our family members do, especially people with whom we're close, it's like we have more than just a passing interest in it. We do not have a financial interest or a legal interest in terms of being a shareholder and so on. But you want your sister's business to do well. You want your brother's taxi that is on the road to do well. Zin? But understand this fundamentally, and which is a clear concept to appreciate here.
The son.
A clear, well, and indeed it's his son. So a clear concept to appreciate here is this. For the purpose of holding someone accountable for something, for the purpose of having someone being answerable for something, what your investigations, and this is in the case of the Integrity Commission now and your report, what your investigation and report should turn on are the people who are answerable or accountable. So when you see parliamentary proceedings, SHACKA, and you see an allegation at a ministry, for example, the driver at the ministry or the driver's wife, though she's related to the driver at the ministry by virtue of being the driver's wife, the person who is the answerable person, what we call the chief accounting officer at a ministry, is not even the PFO, you know. You know who the chief accounting officer is?
The permanent secretary.
Very well, my brother. The permanent secretary of the ministry is the chief accounting officer. So I just say that to provide context and an appreciation of what is happening for the listeners and the viewers, because the fact of the matter is that there are directors and shareholders of the entity that is undertaking the project at Beverly Hills Estate Bridge. Zin? And if an allegation comes into you on the 10th of July, such that it triggers your investigation, which you are mandated by statute to do, in other words, the laws that set up the Integrity Commission enables or obliges, rather, it requires the director of investigation to, having received a complaint, to go now and undertake an investigation. So we take no issue with that. But if you are undertaking an investigation into an allegation of a violation of a permit and development approval, the people who should concern you are the people who have an interest in that development, the people who are in charge of that development. And I'm putting it to the viewers and listeners that Andrew Holness is not one such person.
But Marlon,
yeah,
when the Prime Minister, the leader of opposition, and parliamentarian filed their statutory filing to the Integrity Commission,
yeah,
isn't it a fact that they have to report on what their wives and their children also have?
I know they have to report on what their spouse. I would have to double check whether they have an obligation to divulge what their children or a sibling or any other close familiar relation does. I know certainly in the case of a spouse. I definitely did not say
sibling. I definitely did not say sibling.
Yeah, man, I know that. I'm just extending it.
From my understanding, I think your wife and your children has to be a part of the filing.
Well, like I said, in relation to children, I will seek to apprise myself on that aspect of it. However, what I do know is that there's a clear obligation where your spouse is concerned, logically having regard to the proximity of a spouse and indeed, a substantive declarant.
But tell me this, Marlon.
Yeah.
As a reasonable Jamaican, the Prime Minister, as we already established, was a shareholder in Estate Bridge through
Indeed,
impediment.
there's no denying that, yeah.
Right, we already agree on that. But when the Prime Minister moves away and leaves his son, his 21-year-old son, wouldn't it be fair to conclude that the Prime Minister gave his son those shares? And the son didn't buy those shares?
It is very clear that the Prime Minister is relinquishing of his interest in Estate Bridge, yes, in favor of one of his sons, a son who had attained the age of majority by that time, Adam Holness, would have been on the basis of a gift to his son. So there's no arguing of that. That in other words, citizens of Jamaica. Before I come to the follow-up question, I'm just seeking to respond.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Citizens of Jamaica are able to do with their personal property as they see fit. We are not in a communist economy or a planned economy, and those are liberties that we hold dear in the context of Jamaica. So just to be clear, if I buy my wife a Louis Vuitton bag, if I buy her a Lamborghini, if I buy my mom a house or a chalet in France, the truth is that I'm able to do what I elect to do to the extent that I'm operating within the context of Jamaican law.
But the follow-up that I was coming with, Marlon, is that wouldn't it be also fair to agree that the Prime Minister would be guiding his son in these kind of investment? Because you and I, we are going to guide them, we give them something.
So, I mean, I don't know the details surrounding the development, because just to apprise your listeners, and this is a very important point too, when a person is a shareholder or has an interest in a company or a development, for example, you have persons who may be what you called, certainly when we were taught principles of business in school, you have people who are called sleeping partners or silent shareholders or silent partners. In other words, you have some persons who have an interest in a company who may be more directly responsible to discharge and oversee the day-to-day operations of the entity, or indeed a development project that the entity may be embarked on. So just to be clear, I don't know the arrangements. I'm not someone who is in the know as it relates to how active the gentleman Adam Holness is in relation to the development. But for what it is worth, I will say this. As set out in the Director of Investigations report that is now tabled, that has since been tabled in Parliament, there are some persons, certainly one of the shareholders in Estate Bridge, the gentleman named Norman Brown, he identified himself as the supervisor, as it were, of the development. So he is essentially the person with superintendence of it. And we saw that there was a particular gentleman who is the contractor. Because as you know, whenever we have construction going on, you have a point person who makes sure that, the guys are doing what they ought to be doing. So that person is Mr. Nesbitt.
Cement are mixed right.
There you go. And then the person like Norman Brown is the man who ensure that the materials are being, acquired. Cement come in, sand come in, that kind of thing.
Let's talk about Norman Brown.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Norman, as you went there. Norman Brown is also a shareholder in Estate Bridge. He's also the chairman of the UDC.
Yes.
And he's the chairman of Lord, I keep mixing up the
other entity is the Housing Agency of Jamaica, HAJ.
Thank you very much. He's also business partner of the Prime Minister. And based on the IC report, and I take you back to a brother called Mr. Barnett from the NWC. He went on, they put him on leave because of a similar infraction. Do you think Mr. Brown should be put on leave from the UDC and the Housing Corporation of Jamaica because of this infraction?
So my response to you is 3 letters, 1 word. 2 letters rather, 1 word. No. and I'll tell you why. The Mark Barnett case is fundamentally different in material and fundamental respects from this 2 Wycliffe Close, Beverly Hills development with which Norman Brown is associated, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Norman Brown had Mark Barnett, rather, of NWC fame, had a development approval where he was approved to do X units and he did Y units. Come to Norman Brown. He has a development approval where approval was given to, among other things, undertake 2-bedroom units with some other, at least a multifunction room was there and some ancillary spaces. So whereas there is no contest where the infraction on the part of Mark Barnett is concerned, right? There's no contest as to infraction.
Right.
Notwithstanding the Integrity Commission's report, there is a dispute and a contest in relation to the Beverly Hills development, because whilst the Director of Investigations at the Integrity Commission contends that when he visited the construction site in Beverly Hills, he saw 4 rooms under construction.
4 bedrooms.
I don't know how it
says
at
4
a point. So just, exactly 4 bedrooms. So
But
just
it's
to be
supposed to be
clear,
2.
I don't know how that person makes a determination and concludes definitively, whilst construction is ongoing, that he has observed 4 bedrooms. And the truth of the matter is that what the Director of Investigations at the IC asserts conflicts with what the competent authority, SHACKA, in this case asserts. So just for the benefit of the listeners and viewers, the fundamental difference is that it was the KSAMC in the case of this gentleman, Mark Barnett of NWC fame, that had determined, their internal systems had determined that there was a breach, there was a violation of what was approved in terms of the development approval. In the case of Norman Brown, the KSAMC has confirmed, and indeed, based on correspondence, as I understand it, that has been supplied and provided to the developers up at Beverly Hills as recently as November of 2024, there is a confirmation that what is situated up at Beverly Hills are 2-bedroom structures. So you see, we can speculate, people can engage in conjecture, and people can sit on their respective verandas and engage in rumor mongering and so on. But the KSAMC, my friend,
what if the
is the
KSAMC
competent
comes back and
authority.
agree?
Say again?
What if the KSAMC comes now and agree with the IC that there are 4 bedrooms?
That is if we were living in a fantasy world, but we don't live in a fantasy world. We live in a real Jamaica where competent men and women are employed to the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, as they are competent men and women, SHACKA, employed to the Portland Municipal Corporation. And you would have vied to join them and serve as a counselor. You would have been working with an engineer and building officers and so on, whom I am sure you would have reposed confidence in. Yes, until and unless those persons would have given you reason to believe otherwise. But there are a lot of issues
with the people at the KSAMC in Kingston.
All right, cool. So let us just come back to the point I'm making before.
Yeah, no, I could go down at KSAMC yet.
Because what I'm saying, I would wish to conclude on that point and then come back to the other question or a follow-up question. So just to be clear, the KSAMC, unless we have basis or a ground to determine and establish otherwise, is staffed by competent men and women. One of the person who is the chief engineer at the KSAMC, Xavier Evans, went to school with me.
Okay.
He went to KC with me. He was some years above me in terms of being ahead of me. Yeah. But the truth is, this gentleman is certainly known to me and other Jamaicans as a civil engineer of no, low order. He's a gentleman who is, competent and professional. And the KSMC, which is the competent authority in this matter, has examined and inspected the construction development up at Beverly Hills. And based on the correspondence that they have since dispatched to the developers, what has been established is that there are 2-bedroom structures there for we call it semi-detached townhouses containing 2-bedroom, multi-purpose room, and ancillary facilities to include kitchen and dining area and so on. So we can always have the veranda talk, SHACKA. And there are persons who will engage in that, and that's fine. But when we come on our platform now, we have to try and decipher fact from fiction. And what we're saying is that until and unless we have evidence to the contrary, what we know now is that based on the competent authority in the matter, the KSAMC, what exists up at Beverly Hills are 2-bedroom townhouses, 4 2-bedroom townhouses.
Let's
so it's different from the Mark Barnett case.
Let's go to a fact that we agree on.
Sure.
You just agree that Norman Brown is a business partner of the Prime Minister.
Yeah. And that's established, that's known.
And the chairman of the UDC.
HAJ and the UDC.
And HAJ. That's right. 2 agencies that is in the Prime Minister's office, which the Prime Minister is the minister of those. Does that sit well with you, Marlon? It doesn't sit well with me.
And I put this to you. So the short answer is this. The Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, but more broadly, our corporate governance framework in Jamaica contemplates the fact that you may have persons who have either conflicts of interest or perceived conflicts of interest, yes? And because we're a small island country, we're a small population, people know people, and quite logically, and this is an important point to make, and just for the benefit of your listeners and viewers, the people who are appointed as board chairmen, my friend, are people who are going to be known either by a prime minister making the appointment or a respective minister making an appointment. So let's be clear on that. So if I appoint my business partner, a friend of mine, yes, an associate of mine, that is a logical thing to do because it is someone in whom I know I can repose confidence. You know why? If something, God forbid, happens in an adverse way down at a ministry, department, or agency, or down at any public body, guess whose name is going to be in the firing line, as we saw with Andrew Wheatley. Andrew Wheatley is out of the cabinet this morning, yes, because an entity over which he had superintendence as the portfolio minister, Petrojam, was embroiled in all kinds of allegations, yes, and it got to such a point that in terms of the public rancor and the public discourse, Petrojam had been lowered in the estimation of some of the Jamaican people. And the truth is that because of issues of superintendence and oversight on the part of Dr. Wheatley, or the lack thereof, he essentially had to make way as a member of the political executive. So you see, my friend,
Marlon, and
but just before you come back, I was about to make the point because I had started to venture there when I spoke about the built-in mechanisms in our corporate governance framework to manage conflicts of interest, because we know that these things do exist. But when you have a person having regard to their affiliations and so on, and having regard to whatever business interest that they may have to make, they are under an obligation to make a declaration as to their interests, particularly business interests, so that you can avert the respective conflict of interest in the relevant case. For example, SHACKA, just before you come to the question, because what I want, we don't have to rush this interview, what I want is for your listeners and viewers to understand what is happening here. When members of parliament are elected, Zane, they have those persons who have an interest in business establishments or business entities. They make a declaration in the parliament as to their interest, and they indicate that they have an interest in a company that may from time to time do business with the government, meaning the government spends public funds, the government spends SHACKA's money and Marlon Morgan's money, and the long and short of it, my friend, is that Fitz-Jackson may have a company, another MP may have a company, and those persons declare that they have an interest. For example, Norman Dunn owns and operates a pharmacy.
That came to mind. I was just about to say that to you. that Norman Dunn did make some declaration.
He owns and operates a pharmacy, G.
But Marlon,
yeah,
the
go ahead.
Prime Minister and Norman Brown are in active businesses, including lands.
The development
Norman
of lands,
Brown chairs the UDC, which deals with lands, most of the lands in Jamaica, the Housing Corporation of Jamaica, and the minister is the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister and him friend, and that would be fair to say, and deal with a whole heap of the lands of Jamaica, while at the same time, the Prime Minister and him friend involved in a development. And you are saying that's okay with you. Let me just hold on, Marlon.
Sure.
Styles FM and the Caribbean Radio will be going on break, and we continue until they come back.
Well, I would want the viewers
on
the respective radio platforms to have the benefit of our conversation. So you can alert me as to when they're back, and I will unpack some of my views on the matter, because one of the things to be made clear, Shaka, is that we live in a real world, we live in a real society, and as persons in the political space, we can't be unmindful of the views or concerns of the Jamaican people. In fact, it would be remiss of me, it would be asinine of me to in any way suggest this morning that I do not understand and appreciate why a Jamaican sitting at home looking at Norman Brown, looking at the Prime Minister, considering the proximity between the two, to not have a concern in their head that, but wait, probably this is just too much of a conflict of interest. Probably they ought not to, he ought not to have any association with these entities, to the extent that they are entities where the Prime Minister serves ultimately as the portfolio minister. I can accept, I can understand, I do appreciate persons who have those concerns, because I know the Prime Minister better than many. I do appreciate what he's about, and the fact that, notwithstanding that that appearance of a conflict of interest, in addition to the built-in mechanisms that are there to manage conflicts of interest, that conflict of interest is being appropriately managed. But that is for me, that's my internalizing and my assessment of the situation. I do accept that Shaka's assessment may differ from mine. And I
tell the people why they shouldn't be concerned.
Say again?
Tell the people why they shouldn't be concerned.
No, man, I'm not suggesting, in other words, but what I want you to understand what I'm saying clearly. I am saying first and foremost that I can understand and
why they are.
In other words, I sympathize.
No, man, we get that. You understand why they're concerned. But what should make them know comfortable with this?
That the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Michael Holness, has Jamaica's best interest at heart. He is a gentleman who has presided faithfully over this country for the past 9 years. March will take us to the 9-year mark. As you have seen, he's someone who concentrates his mind and occupies his mind and time every day with ways and means to improve the lives of the people of Jamaica. Just Thursday, I think it was, yes, the Prime Minister was in his constituency handing over some houses in relation to a group of constituents who had been burnt out by a fire. That is the Prime Minister we have, who conceptualizes and uses the resources and largesse of the state to improve the lives of the Jamaican people, to put money back in people's pocket, to include that $20,000 reverse tax credit and another $20,000 that is coming up shortly, which is for persons who are not NIS pensioners, not on path, so you're not captured anywhere in terms of being vulnerable and in need of assistance. You will be eligible to apply for a $20,000 grant that will commence in February of 2025. So I know
let me just welcome back the listeners on Styles FM and on Caribbean Radio. Marlon Morgan we're talking to of the Jamaica Labour Party, and we're not just sticking to the IC as I told you, Marlon. There's a whole lot of things I want to talk to you about. You mentioned that $11 billion that I am mad about. Let me tell you something. It's something that I am so upset about you wouldn't believe. But I'm not going to that yet because I don't want to be all over the place. We talk about Norman Brown and the Prime Minister. Are you comfortable with a Prime Minister, Marlon, doing the amount of personal businesses as our Prime Minister is doing right now. The Prime
So
Minister is
my
involved
answer,
in a lot
let's
of
be very
business.
clear.
Yeah.
So let's be very clear. The Prime Minister has made a determination that notwithstanding his business interests and business associations with Norman Brown, that Norman Brown, given his expertise and skill sets, is well placed and is competent and qualified to superintend the UDC and superintend HAJ, serving as the chairman of that board. And my response to you, Shaka, is that I repose confidence. I trust the Prime Minister's judgment. I repose confidence in the Prime Minister's judgment, and that is not an arbitrary reposing. I repose it because I am mindful of who he is, what he's about, what he stands for, but more importantly, because I understand that we have certain built-in safeguards, which is the difference. And I want your listeners and viewers to understand that this morning. Notwithstanding business relations between Andrew Holness and Norman Brown, I repose confidence in what ensues, yes, because I know that there are built-in safeguards from a corporate governance standpoint where Norman Brown is concerned. Norman Brown would have had to declare any conflict of interest that he has, and if there is anything untoward in relation to his superintendence of UDC and the HAJ as board chairman, the respective Auditor General reports and investigations by the Auditor General, because just to be clear, in as much as a member of the public caused an investigation to be undertaken by the Integrity Commission into the entity called, into the development of Beverly Hills, if any member of the public or any member of staff at UDC or HAJ feels that there is any misappropriation, any maladministration, any malfeasance that touches and concerns Norman Brown and his relationship with the portfolio minister, Andrew Holness, then they can cause the Auditor General to come in and undertake an audit of the respective entities, those being the UDC and the HAJ, with a view to determine or decipher whether there's anything untoward that is at play. So just to be very clear, there are built-in safeguards, my friend. So I could easily put it to you whether you were comfortable with the fact that PJ Patterson in a dispensation passed, and a gentleman who you would know in PNP circles as having the moniker God. Who was God? The person with the moniker God.
You're talking Vin Lawrence.
Who was that person?
Vin Lawrence.
Percival James Patterson and Vin Lawrence had a particular association and relationship.
But tell me,
and Vin Lawrence headed the UDC.
Marlon.
I don't know that they were business partners. They may have been. It's just that I do not know. I may give myself.
Marlon,
pause a minute.
Hold on a little bit. No, man.
Sure.
You have no evidence.
You
have no evidence by your admission a while ago that Vin Lawrence and PJ Patterson was in business.
So just to be clear,
you said earlier that is a small country, and in naming people,
yeah, man, which is why I'm making the point.
Right.
So, in other words,
but there's a difference with Norman Brown.
That's
Norman Brown and the Prime Minister, they are business partners.
But Shaka,
active.
I am hearing what you're saying, and I find that in interviews where persons do not sing from the same hymn sheet that I sing from, they oftentimes don't necessarily hear what I am communicating. So I'm going to go it over.
No, man, we heard you clear.
I can do this with you all morning, and I'm going to go it over. I'm not in any rush.
We heard you clearly.
My friend,
you said
I started out by saying, I acknowledge that some of my Jamaican brothers and sisters, to the extent that Andrew Holness and Norman Brown are business partners,
and you
as in privately,
active business partners,
at least in a private realm, and Norman Brown was chosen by the portfolio minister, Andrew Holness, to chair UDC and HAJ. I can understand, a member of the public feeling, a bit uneasy about that or having concern about that. What I would reassure that member of the public, however, what I would say to my Jamaican brothers and sisters who have any such concern is that I know that Andrew Holness means Jamaica well. He has been a faithful steward of our resources, as all the macroeconomic indicators will suggest, and as all the Auditor General report will suggest in terms of his stewardship of his portfolio.
No,
entities.
the Auditor General
And the
report
point I'm
don't give
making,
him no good stewardship, brother.
well.
I'm on a point of order. I'm just saying that the
Sure.
Auditor General report says the Prime Minister office over the last 3 years has spent $12 billion which you don't get the financials for.
So let us not conflate or mix up issues. You are now moving on to this
And I don't
$3
want to move
trillion.
yet, you know. I don't want to say
Well, move, General. Remember, I'm going to come back to the substantive points. I am walking you through the issues, you know, because obviously we're in this conversation, and there are things that you're going to point to and so on. And it is my duty now in this conversation, madam, to deal with those things head on. So you have segued. So I'm going to come back to the primary matter of the optics and proximity and Vin Lawrence and PJ Patterson and so on, because I didn't draw that to draw a red herring across the trail. I simply drew that to make the point that persons in public life will have associations with each other. Nigel Clark, for example, used to chair the Hard Trust NSTA board. That was when Nigel Clark was in the private sector, but he was an associate of Andrew Holness. He was known by Andrew Holness to be a competent and patriotic Jamaican, and that was why he was situated at Hard to chair Hart's board.
Hold on, let me tell you
but
something.
I want to come back to the $3 trillion thing, you know.
No, man, hold on, let me tell you something that I normally shut down people on. When
Sure.
people are saying that politicians mustn't choose board chairman and all them something, I resent it because I said to them, the politicians are elected by the people.
It's an impractical position. Yeah.
But the politicians are elected by the people. Who you want to choose board chairman? People, somebody who is not elected? It can't work.
And I'll tell you more.
And let me finish. And the politicians must elect people that they know. People that they understand their competence.
They trust and repose
confidence in. They trust. However, I don't believe that politicians should put their business partner to chair boards that come under their ministry. That is wrong, Marlon.
So I part company with you on that, because let's be very clear. Wickham McNeil, for example, served as tourism minister. Do you know the entity that has been, or the proximity between Wickham McNeil and the entity, whilst he was serving as tourism minister, that now operates the Puerto Rico beach, for example?
That now operates it.
That is correct.
Under GLP government.
Kenny Benjamin's outfit.
Under GLP government.
Yes. No, man, this would have been the Puerto Rico development, I think, would have been from the time between 2012 and 2016. That determination as to which entity gets to operate the Puerto Rico beach. So let's be clear. What I'm putting to you, SHACKA, is a very simple concept.
But
our corporate governance framework has built-in safeguards to protect the interests of the Jamaican people. You may not agree with, in other words, you may not agree or you may not concur with me on this Andrew Holness Norman Brown matter. But what I'm telling you are some incontrovertible things. That we have a public, let me enumerate the incontrovertible things. We have a Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, which places certain obligations on entities such as HAJ and UDC. Irrespective of what we may think in our heads, irrespective of the discomfort that we may have as we sit in our living room and we come to learn that Norman Brown and Andrew Holness are business partners. Irrespective of that, we have a corporate governance framework where persons who have any conflict of interest have a certain obligation, not dissimilar to the obligation that parliamentarians have if they own and operate business entities, or if they have an interest in business entities that may do business with the government from time to time. There are ways and features, there are mechanisms to manage these things. That's the point I'm making. In short.
I would want you to come back on a Saturday morning when I don't have another interview. I have another interview lined up. I can push it back to about 10:30.
Yeah, man, we can go up to 10:30 then. That's fine.
But I want to bring it
but you had made mention of the, so just before we move from that, I said something
from the Prime Minister yet.
No, man, we don't move from the Prime Minister. Jamaica
asked you
is
a
about the
question
Prime
earlier
Minister,
that
and
you did.
importantly, Shaka, the Prime Minister is about Jamaica. As I
Right.
said before, he gets up every day with Jamaica on his mind, and he's fixing up this place, and you're seeing it in all the macroeconomic indicators, whether it is the 3.6% unemployment rate, whether it is the inflation rate that is within the Bank of Jamaica's target.
And the poverty
now
rate. Talk about the
4.7%.
poverty rate.
Yes, we're seeing it in terms of poverty mitigation, because you just spoke about poverty a while ago. It is not as to whether, the question is not whether poverty exists. The question is,
it has
have
increased
you
under
been
this
moving the
government.
Jamaican people? Walk with me a bit. Have you been moving the Jamaican people from welfare to work? The answer is an emphatic yes, because unemployment
Hold on,
is
Marlon.
at 3.6%.
I want to take you on and all of that. But
before we do the take on, I just wish to
man,
make a comment about the so-called $3 trillion. Well, let me not describe it as so-called, because the truth is,
no, man, Marlon, no run go there so yet. No run go there so yet.
Oh, you know, okay, because you didn't raise it earlier.
No, man, we all go there, man.
So
Because
there's
some
no
where we
issue
have
that
touched.
you're raising.
But
that
as I said, I don't want to be all over the place. So let's
all right,
just
cool.
finish
So
with
we
the Prime
can
Minister.
come back to the Auditor General.
Yeah, man,
and
because
what
I'd
is
asked
called
you
the
earlier.
appropriations accounts of ministries.
I'd asked you earlier
Sure.
about the Prime Minister doing all these amount of businesses that he's doing while running the country, if that is advisable.
Well, let me tell you what the Prime Minister, the business that the Prime Minister is doing. The Prime Minister gets up every day and preoccupies himself with the business of Enterprise Jamaica.
What about the 3 companies
business
that he operates?
So pause a bit, because in this conversation, don't lose sight of the things I have communicated, Shaka. I'm appealing to you. I introduced the concept to you earlier. You may have known it prior, but I underscored the concept earlier in this conversation of a thing called sleeping partners in entities. So I may be affiliated, my friend, with a tour company, with a bus company, with a taxi operation, with whatever it is. I may be affiliated with an Airbnb or even a hotel.
He's actively buying stocks and bonds, so bring that into
However, in terms of the day-to-day operations of the entity, appropriate arrangements may be in place so to undertake. And that is what would enable me, or in this case, Andrew Holness, as Prime Minister, to go about Jamaica's business while someone else attends to the business of Imperium Holdings. It's not far-fetched, my friend.
But he's the one who's dealing with the stocks and bonds and getting the loan of $50 million.
If the Prime Minister may, because in other words, Shaka, we have a thing called, look at this thing, it's called a phone.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, man.
So we have information and communications technologies at our disposal. They're broadly referred to as ICTs, right? And you see, ICT enablement and the advancement of technology puts Jamaicans like you and I in a position to transact business via the touch of a button and in a split second. So when persons come and tell you about how many number of transactions the Prime Minister did over what period of time, as per the September IC report into this business of illicit enrichment, yes? What people need to understand and appreciate is that based on our communications and technology enablement at present, we're able to sit.
Word for word.
We are
understand that.
We are able to sit and transact business, give instructions to people at our investment houses. For example, at SSL, the Prime Minister would have given an instruction to liquidate his investment, and he provided a particular instruction as to a bank account to remit the funds
would you agree?
From that liquidated investment into his NCB account.
Would you agree that the Prime Minister...
At a drop of a hat, my friend.
Would you agree that the Prime Minister is the most powerful person in Jamaica?
I can understand why you'd make that comment.
Would you agree?
The most powerful outfit in Jamaica and person I would probably posit is the Chief Justice. And I'll tell you why. Because I know why you go there to make the point about the sweeping powers that the Prime Minister has. So let me just.
So the Prime Minister makes legislation for the Chief Justice.
So let me just convey this to you.
So I could just Marlon, I could just agree and move now. That the Prime Minister is
Mr. Panton communicated that in Parliament. That the only outfit that can instruct that can instruct the Integrity Commission are the courts. So the courts are overwhelmingly powerful.
But you'd agree that the Prime Minister
wields very powerful. So hear what I'm saying. the Prime Minister wields considerable powers.
All right.
And those are not arbitrary powers.
All right, hold on, man.
Those powers are given to him based on an election that is contested.
So we agree that the Prime Minister is powerful.
The Prime Minister the Prime Minister is a powerful person.
Right. So when a document goes to the KSAMC with the Prime Minister's name on it, or saying that the Prime Minister is associate, would you agree with me that?
Oh, you're saying that's a powerful document.
And it gets priority of place.
So let's be clear, Shaka. Let's be clear. We know that based on personage and name recognition, because this is precisely what allowed the Prime Minister to get an unsecured loan at a particular financial institution. If Colin Bell, but walk with me, General, I want you to be understanding what I am communicating. If you walk into a bank and Marlon Morgan walk into a bank for $50 million unsecured, they would run the two of us out of the place. Because we have not built up that relationship with them and the banks. And just to be clear, Maji, the banks make certain they don't operate arbitrarily, you know. They make certain determinations as to the credit worthiness of the person.
There you go.
They make, because the banks have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders. They can't just pick up the shareholders' money and go fling it away, whether to Androlless or whomever. So whatever money them give Androlless, my friend, is because they have made a determination as to his credit worthiness, and they know that he's a man who is easy to find, because obviously
he's the Prime Minister. But the loan that you speak of wasn't meant to be an unsecured loan. It just ended up to be unsecured. It wasn't meant to be.
Well, I don't get into the business of Barita. I don't operate a financial institution. So Barita
based on the report of the IC.
So the report, Kevin Stevens is not the competent authority on anything that Barita does. Yes? The FSC is. So let's just be very clear, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Barita, in keeping with the interests of its shareholders and operators, can elect to do what they elect to do within the confines of Jamaican law.
But answer me this question.
You need a proper 3 hour, and I will come and sit to you probably
for 3 hours. And I need it. But
because you can ask what you're asking.
I'm supposed to talk to
you
CM
can say what you're saying, but I will be communicating what I'm communicating.
Yeah, man, and I want to give you the time.
Terms. Because you spoke to the KCMC a while ago. I just want to say 10 seconds on the KCMC.
Hold on.
I'm holding.
As you realize, when we started, I gave you the time because that's what I want you to do. I want to give you the time so you can talk, so you can respond to the question.
Remember, we are going to 2025, which is gonna be a massive year, brother. I have on my boots, You
have on strap up long time, but hear this, Marlon.
Okay.
Hear this. The Prime Minister says,
man. I play the football game one way.
Hold on. The Prime Minister says he feels like he's under attack by the Integrity Commission.
And I feel so too.
I beg to disagree, because when I look at the 2013, February 2013 ruling from the Integrity Commission, where the Director of Corruption Prosecution said she found on 2 occasions enough to charge the Prime Minister. But she didn't charge the Prime Minister because she said because of undue delay, she wasn't going to charge him. If the Integrity Commission was so targeting the Prime Minister, don't you think that they would have said, take it to court and make the court decide that?
My friend, Shaka, the Director of Corruption Prosecution, certainly more so than some of the other agents at the IC, is clearly a fairly measured person, is someone who does something not dissimilar to what the DPP does here in Jamaica. The person is such a professional and a practical person that they consider the likelihood of successful prosecution and not just seek to jump and engage in prosecution, because that is why Paula Llewellyn and Greg Christie were at loggerheads when we previously had the Office of the Contractor General. Greg Christie would have preferred to run out and undertake prosecutions, but Paula Llewellyn had a different obligation in the scheme of things. She was not a puppy show prosecutor, and she was not presiding over a puppy show office of the DPP. She concerned herself with how appropriately queued up the cases were and the degree to which they were likely to result in successful prosecution. So just to come back to the Prime Minister and his power, you are correct. The Prime Minister will enjoy name recognition. Hold on, man. You see that question the way you just get? You will get to pose that in a G, because I'm
No, but I
here,
go back to
I'm the man to deal with the questions.
yeah, man. But hold on now.
You see that title up there, so it says member of the JLP. All I probably can be displayed.
Communication.
But I'm a member of the JLP's
Marlon, what I'm saying
communication
to
task
you,
force.
what
So
I'm
we
saying,
can't impugn the KSAMC, my friend. So not because a set of documents come to the KSAMC with the Prime Minister's name on it. A person may feel to deal with it with expedition. Yes? And that's a courtesy that some people enjoy. Because when I stood in Burger King some time ago, and a member of the JDF decked in uniform came in and they advanced the gentleman to the front of the line. Yes. It's a courtesy, I suspect, when I'm boarding JetBlue, when I'm boarding a flight in the United States, American Airlines asks veterans to come and they get priority boarding. These things work these ways.
Yes, I agree.
What
I'm saying to you, the fact that you are all beating up on the Integrity Commission, in relation to recommendation 1 and 2, though evidence have been identified sufficient to mount charges for the noted offense, the prosecution, and she's a part of the Integrity Commission. So what do you say to those of us who said the Integrity Commission is doing a good job? Mikhail Phillips was charged and paid his fine. Dwayne Vaz was charged and paid his fine. Back in when Azan, it wasn't the Integrity Commission then.
OCG,
so why because the Prime Minister of all these issues, you are saying that he's targeted?
All right. So when people like myself and certainly the organization that I'm affiliated with, the Jamaica Labour Party, make certain observations, we don't do like others and make them on the basis of political expediency as opposed to principle. We don't make them on the basis of the arbitrary. You have just put the question to me and I'm now responding. So let's be very clear. In February 2023, SHACKA, a senior executive at the IC retweeted this notion of the Prime Minister may be subject to prosecution in relation to the same Westcon and the alleged conflict of interest matter. He knew fully well that based on a ruling by his own director of corruption prosecution, the senior executive at the IC that is, he knew fully well that based on the ruling of Mrs. Prince Kamika, that there would be no prosecution against the Prime Minister. But notwithstanding that, the senior executive at the IC retweeted that thing that would have caused the Prime Minister, during the window of time between one disclosure and the other disclosure which exonerates the PM, he would have caused the Prime Minister to hemorrhage. There was an incident of shooting, my friend, involving a member of staff at the Integrity Commission. When that happened, and in the heat of that moment, a member of the press put a question to Mr. Greg Christie of the Integrity Commission. The person asked him, what are your thoughts on what has happened? Or, what has happened here? And Greg Christie responded to the journalist by telling him that he must go and ask the government that. That was most unfortunate. Those were reprehensible and unfortunate remarks to have escaped his lips. And I'm putting it to you, SHACKA, that when you consider February 2023, where there was a retweet of an issue, notwithstanding knowledge that the person would have had to the contrary, and when you consider the incidents of shooting and the remarks that were made, when you consider this most recent IC report concerning the construction at Beverly Hills, where a complaint came into you on the 10th of July, you fly go down a KSAMC on the 11th of July, and then you fly go up Beverly Hills on the 12th of July. You mean to tell me that Kevin Stevenson never have no important meeting? He never have no judges' rules.
Him do it fast.
He never have no judges' rules interview to have with anybody. He never have no report that he was busy writing, including that September illicit enrichment allegation report. You mean to tell me he never have nothing to do? You get a complaint on the 10th of July. You fly go down a KSMC on the 11th of July. Then you fly go up at Beverly Hills on the 12th of July. Quick o'clock. Because the Prime Minister's name was at the center of this allegation. Come on, my friend. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, chances are it may well be a duck. So I'm putting it to you, Maji, that I don't come from the place of the arbitrary in relation to making a point and concurring with the Prime Minister that it appears as though he's been targeted. Yes? The facts bear it out. February 2023 bears it out. The unfortunate remarks by Greg Christie about ask the government that, and when the journalist asked him what does that mean, him said, ask the government what that means. Are you suggesting or intimating that the government had something to do with the shooting of that staff member?
The chairman of the Integrity Commission.
That was irresponsible.
The chairman of the Integrity Commission.
He can say whatever he wishes to say. But he disrespected my parliament. I want to hear nothing from the chairman of the Integrity Commission.
Marlon.
He disrespected the Jamaican people and the parliament of the land because he disrespected the parliamentarians, telling them all kind of nonsense about water down at parliament and what him not going to drink because he don't want whatever in water. He was out of order, and other laborers may be afraid to describe Panton as being out of order. I have no such encumbrance, my friend. Justice Panton retired. Is very out of order. He disrespected the parliament of the land, and the parliament of the land is you and I, SHACKA. The parliament represents us, and you do not bring the parliament into dispute. It was infamous of him, it was remiss of him, and it was most unfortunate how he carried on in that parliament that evening.
Marlon, 90% of the questions I have not asked you, but I have Cian Barneswell that I was supposed to touch base with from 15 minutes after 10. I am ready to bring you back next week, Saturday morning, so we can finish up this.
I said 30 seconds on the Cian Barneswell thing. Because the PNP enjoys the popular vote in a context where the seat distribution is split in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, they are advancing the view that they should become the chairman or a PNP member. The PNP caucus should determine who becomes the mayor of Maypen and the chairman of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. I will put this to the PNP. Andrew Swaby is now the mayor of Kingston and of Kingston, right? Andrew Swaby is the chairman of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. SHACKA, that determination was made. That determination was made based on the popular vote.
Right.
What if, having regard to the 3 by-elections that are now due in the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the Chancery Hall Division, the Olympic Gardens Division, and of course, the Great Denham Town Division, what if the JLP were to run up the numbers such that the seat distribution in terms of divisions in the KSMC come back to being tied, but
and you get the majority vote.
Follow me now, man. That's what
I'm me know where you go.
We deal with principle, brother. The PNP will deal with expediency. And that is why a big baller like myself will dribble past them, push it through them salad, and get the ball in the back of the PNP's net. I'm not run for the thing, brother. Why you think I'm here sitting with you?
Don't worry yourself. Marlon, next week Saturday morning?
The JLP may well get the popular vote in the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation.
Ask you a question.
Ask Cian Barneswell this. What then?
Marlon, I will ask him that.
I leave the island on Thursday.
You leave the island Thursday?
In New York on
Tuesday night.
Saturday morning.
Tuesday night.
All right. So Tuesday night, MG.
Tuesday night, 8:15.
Make it a date. Don't be late.
Blessings, my brother. And thanks for coming on.
All the best, SHACKA.
Most of your people would come in and I respect you. Bless up.
That's all right, man.
One love.
Blessed. All the best to the listeners and viewers.
Yeah, man. Marlon Morgan from the GLP. We have Cian Barneswell on the line. Comrade Barneswell, morning.
Hi, Colin. How you doing? Morning.
Oh, good. I don't know if you could have heard Marlon a while ago.
I heard him sections of his statements, but it was a bit low. So I have to him credit.
He was saying that you want to become the mayor now because you have the popular vote in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. He's saying that Andrew Swaby is the mayor of Kingston because of the popular vote. They have 3 council seats that they are supposed to deal with now. He's saying, what if after those 3 by-election, they get the majority? Should Andrew Swaby be replaced as the mayor?
When I reach the bridge, you decide if we're going to cross it and go through.
All right. Talk to us about what is happening in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation right now.
All right, what is happening now is that we are getting an echo.
Hold on, I can't fix that.
Hold on.
Go right ahead, man.
Yes. What is happening now at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation is that there's a stalemate as it relates to who should lead the municipal corporations. Hold for me, Colin. Hold for me.
Hold on, Siam. Hold on for me. Go ahead,
Councillor. Go ahead now. Councillor Barneswell?
Not hearing him.
Give me a second, Colin.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you now.
Right. As I said, there's a stalemate now at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation as it relates to who should now be the head of the political directorate there.
Yes.
What do I mean by that? In February of this year, February 26th, I think it was, there was a local government election. And the JLP would have won majority of the divisions. And as a result, they would have decided who be the mayor. That circumstances changed in November the 22nd from the by-election, where there's no even numbers of seats across political parties, 11-11 for both JLP and the PNP. The circumstances in February would have changed because now we have 11 seats and there's a tie, and we now need to decide who should now be the chairman of the corporation.
Yes.
To break our tie, persons used to look at different things to assist in breaking the tie. Convention, what is the precedent, and flipping of coin, or you have straws, long and short straw, you do a straw drawing.
Yeah.
Or in this case, now we use the Local Governance Act or the 8th Schedule of Roper to break the tie. And that is what we are saying to the mayor, that we are now at a junction where we now need to have this conversation.
Yes.
So I given notice last week, Thursday, that I'll be moving a motion this week to discuss the very same matter. And the matter was on the order paper, but where it came on the order paper was the second to last item on the order paper. So we were saying to the mayor, since Councillor Dawson is at item F on the order paper, and the motion that I want to present is at N, can we move it up to F since both of them link?
Yes.
And he said, no, we want to keep it there. But I said, Mayor, but we're going to discuss matters arising for a minute. We're going to go through government correspondence and all the other matters that has no relationship to what, we want to raise. So let us now get this out of the way, have it clear up so we can know how to proceed. He refused to allow us to proceed.
This call will be recorded.
So the resolution was just to, the motion was just to find out two things. Now that there is that tie in the corporation, how do we get past this? Because they are still in control of everything basically in the council.
And they don't have the majority.
Deputy chairman, the committees, them have all the chairman for all the committees and deputy chairman for all the committees. And them also have more members on each committee than the PNP. So all of that has to change now.
Right. So they are not willing to have that discussion, you're saying?
He wasn't willing to have the discussion. So the PNP councillor stand in protest.
So what do you do going forward now?
Well, I will make another attempt to speak. Well, at first going forward, I think we engage our attorney to now look as it relates to how soon I can file something before the court.
Because
where there's varying opinion on this matter, then we have to ask the court to decide. Now, one thing I find really not ridiculous, but curious, I would use the word curious, is that when the Councillor Dawson was swearing, the council from the Maka division, Romain Morris, asked the mayor, the chairman of the council, rather, what section of the act is using to swear in Councillor Dawson.
Right.
And they make reference to the Roper Act, 8th Schedule of the Roper Act, section 61, subsection 1. Now, if you go down that road to accept using that section of the act, then why not go ahead and use subsection 5 of the very same clause, 61? But
That
they
says
refuse to accept that one. So
And
they
what-
pick
What that
the
clause
cherry pick
says?
using the words. Sorry?
What does that clause says? Clause 5 you
All right.
mentioned.
Clause 5 mentioned in the event of a tie, the principal returning officer of the parish will broker the tie by having a casting vote in selecting the party which has majority votes to be the chairman.
Was the presiding
A
officer
councillor.
present at the swearing in?
No, the presiding officer wasn't there.
Because based on what happened now, the mayor is the one who does the swearing in.
Well, it's with the secretary manager
With the
or the CEO.
Right. So wouldn't it stand to mean then that the clause only apply when the presiding officer would be present, where that would be at the end of a general local government election?
Well, that is what they are saying, that it only applies there, but it didn't. It's that in the event of a tie. And person are saying it's general election, but there's an election. And
Right.
the election can bring about results as it relates to change of leadership.
What about the
Or the leadership remain the same. That's what election does, you know.
right? So what
So
about
we
the,
cannot treat a by-election and say that it doesn't give, or the majority that we know have is not counted, and everything's to remain the same. That's not my understanding of an election.
and
In
that-
2007, when we had that by-election in Western Portland,
yes.
it was 32-31. If we had won that election, what do you think would have happened?
it would have changed power, innit? Would it?
It would have changed, right? So I don't assume no, because we are tying up person and saying that, oh, that doesn't give. Let's forget about that.
So
The law is the law, so we have to just obey to it.
and I am of the opinion, Councillor Barneswell, that this should go to the court to set the precedents, because as a young democracy, and it seems to me that when this law was made, the instant that has happened now with the by-election tying the council was not accounted for.
That's correct. And you can have a law, you can have laws that would speak to every event,
Right.
because different things will arise at different times, huh?
And there's two things. You have the letter of the law and the spirit of the law.
That's correct.
And
And just to share with you, in 2003, we didn't have this in the well, it was the Parish Council Act at the time. And we were tying Clarendon, 1111,
yes.
and the senior members of parliament in the parish, Mr. Daly and Mr. Michael, we met, and they come to an agreement
Mm-hmm.
where the JLP would have the popular votes. So they would get the mayor and the people get the deputy mayor. And we will work perfectly well.
So
And we are now
why
at
that
that
can't
point
be the
again.
instance now?
That is it, because you see, I am told, and this is just what I'm told, that this is just the politics that I heard on the street,
Mm-hmm.
that the deputy mayor for KCC is now being given, or being picked to run Central Clarendon.
Mm-hmm.
Henry wanted Joel to be his replacement.
That's the present mayor.
Right. So it seems that there was an agreement for him to give him the mayor. So now that things change, they are fighting for him to still remain.
Because so if he
That
loses
is talk on the street.
so if he loses the mayor now, the promise that they made to him would be null and void.
Thank you. And then you will have all kind of things happening from that side now as it relates to now. Should the deputy mayor for KCC still remain as a candidate, or should we know, or should they now ask that the councillor Williams move up to the rank?
But
I
what,
don't even see the predicament.
I see the predicament. But what do you say to people who are saying to you that you should just allow it?
No, but the law, as I said before now, this is something which is new. There's a precedent that exists. And we know this can happen again. Maybe not now, cannot not that 10 years from now.
Right.
So now that we're at the crossroad, I think we don't need to deal with it.
So it is a definite that you
the
are
law is amended.
it's a definite that you are going to court with it, because I heard the mayor saying
We're
that
going to the court. We're going to the court with it.
right, because
That's
I
the
heard the
right
mayor
here.
saying that him don't have a problem, is the PNP have a problem, so they must go to court.
Well, that is his remarks, yes. But as I said before, let the court decide.
So it is now confirmed that the PNP will be taking this issue to court to sort out the leadership of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation.
That's correct.
Mr. Barneswell, anything else you want to add before you go?
I just want to first say thanks for having me on your program and continue doing the good work you're doing
Blessings.
in educating and sensitizing the people, not only within your space, but across the globe.
Yes.
As person are tuning in and get a better understanding as it relates to current issues and how it impacts on people's lives.
Yes.
And the way forward. So continue doing the work, and thanks again for having me. And if I don't talk to you again, all the best for the Utah season.
Same to you, my brother. Season's greetings for you and your family.
Yes, sir.
Blessings.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Cian Barneswell, minority. Well, he's not the minority leader in the Clarendon Corporation because nobody has the majority there. And because of that, we can't refer to him as no minority leader. It is wrong. And as I said earlier this morning, I believe that we must take it to the court and let the court decide who manage the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. You know, I really enjoyed talking to Marlon Morgan this morning. And I see a lot of people in the chat room upset that I have him on. But don't be upset. We need to hear the thinking of people who don't agree with us. We're not always going to find everybody agreeing with us. And I run a show that we put forward the truth. Yeah, man. And I am willing to bring him back Tuesday night because there's 101 question I'm going to ask him yet, you know. And I'm not going to battle with him. I'm going to ask him the questions, and you, the listeners and the viewers, can hear the answers and see what makes sense and what not make sense. Because Norman Brown been an active partner of the Prime Minister. And you hear what I'm trying to draw? PJ Patterson and Vin Lawrence. But he's admitting that he has no evidence of PJ Patterson and Vin Lawrence in any business venture. And that's the difference. Because in Jamaica, this small island, everybody know everybody. And if you are going to name a chairman of the UDC, it must be somebody who you know, somebody who you have confidence in. Can't be a stranger. Nobody can name stranger to the board. So you have to know the person. But to be your active business partner in the same kind of business, no, and like energy and the man in the housing, real estate development, UDC deals with land. The Housing Corporation deal with land and housing. The Prime Minister is the Minister of Land and Housing. He's the minister. And in business partner with him and him a build house are the chairman. We just wanted the acknowledgement. We know him need to disagree. You understand what I say? So, we welcome him back Tuesday night. Because we have the question, I mentioned the $10 billion and all of them kind of thing there. Whole heap of question. We have whole heap of explanation. And he's willing to speak to us. I respect that. I respect that. We have a few minutes to go. 804-7072. Nobody want to chime in? We'll open the lines. We'll take your calls. 804-7072. Yeah, man, but we were very respectful. Did I disrespect Marlon in any time? No. No. Me not disrespect. Me not disrespect him. Morning, 804-7072. Welcome.
Hello, Colin.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I am calling from California.
Hey, welcome, California. How is it in California?
Well, it's kind of cold, but still bright and sunny.
That's one of the things I think happened to me in Canada one time, you know. The
Yeah.
place bright. And when me go to door, you know, brother, without jacket, you know, I had to make a
Freezing.
turn the cold out there, cut like razor.
Yeah. That's California for you. It doesn't look like it's cold, but this kind of cold actually hurts. It's actually better to be in the snow because it doesn't hurt that much. But when it hurts out here.
Yeah, man, talk to me though.
Yeah, so I was there, watching the interview, and I'm telling you, I was dying to call him because I'm telling you, to say the least, that guy is a snake oil salesman. I'm telling you, he was just running around in circles. I
Yeah,
guess
man.
that's what his job, though.
Yes.
That's what his job is. But let me kind of give you a little bit of walkthrough as to how inspections are carried out because I'm a contractor. I'm an electrical contractor. Right?
Okay.
Also, in the armed forces, I involved in actually buildings from ground up. Right.
Okay,
That's
talk to me.
I was in the engineering corps of the Navy.
Yeah.
So, but inspectors, right? As an electrical contractor, right? Say for example, I'm doing a solar project, right? The inspectors is not gonna look at the entire solar project, right?
Yeah.
Because in some jurisdiction, you call the ASJ, the authority having jurisdiction, is that they don't allow them to go on ladders, right?
Yeah.
So anything I do on the roof, anything I do wrong on the roof, they're not gonna see it,
Right.
right? And some jurisdiction allow them to go on the roof, and you have to provide a ladder, but some inspectors don't want to go up there. They don't want to risk falling off.
Right.
They want you to show them pictures of the framework, like when you start, while you're in the middle. There's certain things that they're looking at, grounding and things like that, bonding. They want pictures of that, right? And they also want to see the panels on. They also want you to take a picture looking onto the panel, see if there's no wires touching the roof, and things like that.
Yeah.
But also they're looking in your main electrical panel. They're looking to see how you wire up your stuff. So one of the things I always do is to make sure that everything is perfect in my main panel, right? So once they look at my main panel, they don't want to see anything else. They're just like, okay, this guy look like he has his stuff together, and they sign off. So that's how you would have an inspector go to a project and miss things like that. Too many walls going up, 3-4 bedrooms going up, and they don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also inspectors are not knowledgeable of constructions per se. They're knowledgeable of codes, right?
Yeah.
So when they come out, they're looking for certain things that's supposed to adhere to code. They're not. If you should show them a blueprint, sometimes they can't even read it, right? A fun thing is like whenever I'm doing batteries, one of the psychology is to wow the inspector. You say all the cool thing about the battery. This is a 30 kilowatt battery that that can load shed. It can do all this stuff, and they're like, wow, it's like their eyes crossed. They'll sign you off and they go about their business because they have other things to do.
Yeah.
So those are things that you would you can get by a inspector, and there's ways to hide stuff. On a building itself, one thing we'll do with like the engineers, right? Because engineers, they are the why behind things. They are the brain box behind everything that we use. You know what I mean? Everything that we use tangibly is put together by an engineer, at least the concept of it. Right. They can tell you why a column should be 10 by 10 by 20 or whatever the case may be, and based on forces times gravity and all these things, right? But in terms of building the actual thing, they don't know how to do that, right? So when you come out, when the engineers come out, especially if they're doing like QC and things like that, we have a way to whip them around the building like rule of fact, and we're very talkative, we're explaining and we're over explaining, and we're wild them, and then we lead them all the way back to off the project. So they're gonna miss stuff too.
Yeah.
Because no building is perfect. So that's how you miss things. You get what I'm saying? So I just wanted to walk and through it. So he's saying a competent authority.
Yeah, but
my belief, not yours, my belief is that they pencil whip the inspections. One, because of the familiarity. Yes.
The inspectors at the KSMC, we in Jamaica know that there are a lot of issues. And you heard us talking about the issue with Mark Barnett. The inspectors at the KSMC did not pick it up. It was the Integrity Commission that also picked that up. So that's neither here nor there. But I'll take our next call here.
Yeah, man.
804-7072. Morning.
Good morning, SHACKA.
Welcome.
Well, I mean, I listen to your interview with Maron, man. Mr. Gonzalez, it was a poor interview.
You think it was poor?
Yeah, man. You give man too much leeway if he coming like it was more than like a paid broadcast. That him just a chat. And I put out field point and all you tell him stop, him just a chat.
Yeah, man, but
yeah,
listen.
But
listen, you the viewers and listeners, you guys are not fools, you know. So I asked the question and allow him and give him the rope, make him himself, you know?
Because when me realize that them a paint a notion and tell you how well the economy I do.
No, no, but we're not getting at that yet, you know. We're not going at that none at all. The interview this morning.
No, but he mean I tell you, all right, but he may answer it. Things where you not asking me, that's
exactly.
why I say it was more like a paid broadcast.
Him just attack when he want to talk, but
yeah.
we'll bring him back Tuesday night to finish up the economy.
Man, I will shut him on and answer question we ask him, man.
All right, sir.
Because when me and man I tell you about how well the economy I do and in the business, how economy cannot do well when your poverty move from 9 to 21.
To 21%.
And I need your government. You put in 100, you have put 200 and more people per part program. I come then 100 and should have 200 and
should have come off. But don't worry yourself.
And then you are like the same thing with them because the previous government with government paper. And if you implement now, you never have a new idea. A 20 idea I got that use, you know, and if you come back with.
All right, my brother. Respect.
Yeah, man.
804-7072. We're taking your calls right now. Mystical. See that call me, no, man. Call me back now. Yeah, man. No, you see, we give him some time because they are of the opinion that I am hostile to the GLP and that's why they don't want to come on. So I never wanted to frighten him away, you know? Morning. Morning, hello. Welcome. Don't turn off your instrument for me now. Talk to me.
Yeah, man.
Yes, man.
You know, I just got a small portion of his interview. The Maron interview.
Yeah.
And the leak that I heard, I mean, it was so disappointing, but I just say small. And let me tell you, when a government is in waiting, right?
Yes.
And tell you everything that they are going to do, them also tell you about the corruption of the past government, and they're going to correct all of those ills.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of taken aback for them. I mentioned Wickham McNeil were gone years ago. I mean, if you come in and you do something and you, Colin, draw an example, how can he be telling you what we can do and in the coming exactly to remedy those issues?
Yeah, but you tell me. But you see, when I talk about with Wickham, the people them rent lease a beach from the government down at Puerto Rico. That not have nothing to do with Norman Brown cheering the board that the Prime Minister is the Minister of the UDC and Norman Brown and the Prime Minister run business. So people are fool.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is disingenuous. But what I don't like with these government sympathizers is that them always look back and they don't realize that it was there before and they say they're going to come in now to address all of those, you know, to benefit the people. So when you come in, I want to point out the mistakes that you make. Why you say, boy, it happened in the time past when one of your purposes was to come in to change all of that?
It is called distraction, my brother. It is called distraction.
Anyway, I get a lot of people a call, but I thought I just make the point that Marlon, that himself here, how disingenuous is he?
Yeah,
if you come in and office, you can't be talking about like what the Prime Minister loved to talk about 18 years.
Yeah, man.
You can say him. You notice on his campaign, him can show you what him do, you know. Him can tell you what he has done, you know. And you hear Marlon Morgan try to justify the 50 million boss. that again is disingenuous. I'm glad you're looking on the point. First of all,
It wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be
very much.
Yes,
my brother.
Unsecured loan. Yeah,
and I'm appreciate with you. You never get flustered when you respond to them like a foolishness there. You just tell them what the facts are, my brother. So I tell you, keep up the good work, sir.
Respect. 804-7072, we're taking your calls. And of course, Marlon has made a commitment to be back with us Tuesday night. Yeah, man. Ed boy.
Hey, brother, how you do?
Me there, man. What go on?
I'm good. I'm trying to see if Marlon is living in a parallel universe. Yeah, Marlon is my friend, you know. Marlon, I'm my brother.
Yes.
Yeah? We played cricket together at KCS at Kingston and St. Andrew Cricket Club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So me know Marlon for a long time. From Marlon, I play cricket from me I go Norman Manley days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and he's a good youth. Yeah. He's a good youth. But Marlon is also a churchman. But Marlon just decided to take up this politics to another level, which makes no sense. Because you're defending the indefensible. Because the point of it that you asked him about the permit, the Prime Minister used his influence as on the KCC to get the permit.
Well,
and this is where the smoking gun.
He admit that the Prime Minister, and you see, those are the kind of things where when we do an interview like this.
Approved. Me know KCC, no permit is approved in such a short time. I was a junior council at KCC appointed by Desmond McKenzie when that, you know, all the parish councils have, every year they have students come in as junior councillors.
Yes, and junior.
So I know the process. In 2011, I was a junior councillor. Yeah.
Yes, man.
So this nonsense that he's talking about, right? Marlon need to just go with the nonsense. Quite frankly, no disrespect to my brother, but he just need to go with the nonsense because there are some things you cannot defend, and this is one of them. Because the point of it is, Estate Bridge, right? Imperium transferred its shares to the Sun. Yeah?
Yes. And he admit that.
He did it because he wanted his statutories to be certified in 2020 before the election of September 3. People must remember that. Hello?
Talk to me. No, that's the point. That's the point. That's the point.
So, anyway, my brother and friend, I go and give somebody else another time. But all I can say is, thief a thief, no matter how you turn it. Later.
Bless up, my brother. Respect.
Cool.
Me like how you put it. You see, let me tell you something. When you do an interview like this, you're basically trying to get certain things out of the interview. And if you listen back to the interview, you get the admissions of where we wanted them. Talk to me, Carla.
Yeah, Colin, how you doing?
Me there, man. Where I say?
Yeah, boy, I was welcoming of the contributor this morning, Marlon Maron, but it turned out that, no useful purpose is served having him on, even for a second time. Because the man arrogance and rudeness was monarchical in a man, yeah?
Yeah, man.
And it might not appear as if, because the man is subtle, and and his platitudinous escapades really overwhelm, his intention, And I don't know if his intention is in keeping with his platitudinous escapade, but I mean, when you have them Vikings and them Buccaneers and them Pirates, you don't let them take you out into their traded field and the high seas, man.
But you see,
keep them in the platoon, in the lagoon, brother. Keep them in the lagoon where you have sights on land, make them Pirates to take you out.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Take you out in the man.
I am happy that majority of my listeners and viewers are very intelligent people. And they hear and understand exactly what was happening.
Yeah, but we are intolerant, of the overbearing nature of his contribution, because what he's doing is pretending as if he's the only voice on the platform, and if he wants a platform, then him go on the blog,
Yeah, well, we invited him. We invited him, so we gave him some time.
Yeah, I mean, too much time, man. Yeah, to be so evasive, you know. I mean, I know when we have people, you know, of those stature, so to speak, you know, we are not. Let me just put it bluntly, you know. When you are aligned and associated, you know, with people who lack the kind of character and integrity, you don't expect their loyalists and their apologists to come differently, you know. Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah. So we're not gonna get a really cogent reason. Yeah.
Yes.
We're not gonna get that kind of.
But Mystical, we know that he was here to defend the Prime Minister.
Yeah,
and
but
to
we
defend...
expect people to have a little credibility in them, man.
No. Maybe you expected too much.
Even a tinge of credibility, man.
No, man.
And rationale, yeah. Just rationale. That don't make sense. You come argue with we out here because we don't want to listen to that, yeah.
He was here to
people don't want to listen to that.
He was here to defend the Prime Minister at all cost.
Yeah, exactly, and then it makes his defense so corrupt.
But it's obvious.
Defense is corrupt. Yeah,
it's obvious.
Defense is corrupt. Yeah. Because any inspector, you know, the layout of a building, you know, you look at the layout of a building, you know, you can easily deceive when the inspector is done. You can do any kind of tweaking of that planning. Yeah, you just want to have the layout. And the layout appears according to the coordinates. Yeah. And you say, okay, yes, this is that and that is that. And you are seen, and it is designed that way, you know, to get 4-bedroom out of 2 with space allotted. But the intention is to deceive. Yeah?
Yes.
It is done easily. Any little contractor can do that. Yeah. So the IC investigator, you think he's a clown? You think he just went there?
You see, a lot of people don't remember. A lot of people forgetting that the director of investigation is a trained attorney at law, you know.
Yes, but he's not going to go there without advisement. He's not going to go there without architectural instruction.
Exactly.
So don't think that these people are doing things willy-nilly, you know.
Or like he's going by himself.
In this environment, they are going to be very specific and calculated about what they do, bearing in mind that they are exposed to people who are there bearing down their necks to find a reason to criticize and to vilify their findings and their conclusions.
Yeah.
So they are very clinical about this. When the investigator associated the Prime Minister with the company, do you think he just did it out of malice and spite? He did it clinically, understanding the implications thereof. Yeah. So I'm not going to say the man is not a part of the company when he would know that the man is not a part of the company. Yeah. No, man. So
the connections are clear with the Prime Minister and Estate Bridge.
Man, listen, the man euphemism and verbosity is not going to cut it, man. Yeah, deflective maneuverings, and because he abound in vocabulary. I mean, come and give us a comprehension. We don't want a comprehension. We want a press. Yeah, a comprehension. We want a press, man. Yeah.
All right, so, brother. Respect.
Great. Take care, man.
One love. Yeah. Where are we now? We are at 7 minutes after 11 o'clock. We are at 7 minutes after 11 o'clock and past the end time for the show. But I have an ex-bird, you know, put in a say this morning. So give him a say. Hold on, my brother. I could bring you in. Because you know, say we share our platform. Yeah, man, that's what we do. Once we have credible information, we allow all views to contend. Yeah, man. Obi.
Hi, Colin. How are you doing?
Me there, brother.
Good morning. Morning to you and to your many listeners and viewers across the length and breadth of Jamaica and indeed across the diaspora and the world.
Yes.
Morning to my brother and friend, Mystical. How are you doing, Mystical?
Him not on the line. No, I'm not on the line.
Oh, he's not there?
No.
All right. Well, I guess he's listening.
Yeah,
all right. Quickly, Colin. I must say, wow, I'm hearing something coming back at me in the background there, Colin. I don't know.
How better is
Yes. Let's try. Wow. Hello?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's still happening, but let's try. Yeah, Colin, I was saying that I just joined you. I heard mystical. I heard mystical basically being a little bit critical of one of your guests. I don't know who it was because, to be honest with you, I wasn't listening. As I said, I just gone to the phone.
We had Marlon Morgan on, so you know what to expect then.
Oh, well, my good friend Marlon, Marlon is vintage Marlon. Marlon is a senior member of the communication directorate of the Jamaica Labour Party. And certainly you're going to get that kind of defense coming from him. And, he does it very well. As a matter of fact, I believe that Marlon should be promoted from just being a mere member of the task force to really being the chairman of that task force for the Labour Party. Communication. Colin, I'm really getting a bad thing coming back at me. I'm hearing everything.
I don't know why. Let me just check this. Here. No mute over here. I don't know why it's coming back. Shouldn't be.
All right. Let me try again, Colin. Yeah, man. So I'm saying that, I believe my good friend Marlon, and I'm sincerely saying this, I believe that the Labour Party really treat Marlon Morgan badly. I believe that Marlon should be at least a Senate. When I look at people like Abgar Fitzhenry, who didn't do any work, just by sitting at Nationwide, he was able to get some news directly from the office of the Prime Minister and within government circle. And he wind up with the acronym of being Mr. Breaking Story or whatever they used to call him. And as a result of that, he is now a senator and he is a parliamentary secretary. And when I saw the heavy lifting that Marlon Morgan did from back in the days when the JLP was in opposition, and he worked diligently, and he's still doing so. So he is going to come back. But I must say that I agree with Mystical, because even when you are a hard-known defendant or supporter of someone or something, it behooves you to bring a level of credibility and a modicum of decency.
Truth
to
is
the whole
important.
thing. And I believe sometimes Marlon is a little bit too strident. He has to give a little more, because certainly I know that Marlon knows that the Prime Minister and the government is up against this one. But, let's cut him some slack there. So I'm not going to be too hard on my friend.
All right, brother.
On the other hand, Colin, because here it is, I have to cut the cloth straight down the middle. I saw some movement in the Clarendon Parish Council yesterday,
and we had Cian Barneswell on as well.
Good. Well, I'm happy. So I'll be happy if he's listening. So I saw some movement in the parish council yesterday. Obviously, a number of us went into the election under the aspect or the thinking, certainly, that once the PNP won the division down there in Indian Towns, it would be automatic that the mayorship would go to the PNP, but certainly not so. When we look back at the act and so on, it clearly protects the present mayor.
How so?
And as a result of
how so?
All right. I'm almost going to give you verbatim. It says that up concerning after a general parish council election, the mayor that is sworn in is there for the term, for the life of the council. It goes further that if you are going to have no vote of no confidence, it will be after a year. That is when you have the kind of stalemate, that the tie that is in the parish council now. Once there is an election, if the tie comes out at the beginning, that is to say at the general election, then certainly the party that has the majority vote would get the mayor. It certainly does not carry the same weight when you have a mayor already sworn in and then you have a tie at the end by virtue of a by-election. And in my view, I believe that's an anomaly. That's certainly a sort of mistake, as it were.
And therefore, Obi, therefore that must be fixed. And the only way that can be fixed and remedy is by taking it to a court of law. So I disagree with all who are saying that Cian Barneswell and the councillors down in Clarendon should just sit back and allow it. No, it must go to the court that the precedents can be set and the court can rule on it.
No. You don't have to go to any court for it. It's waste of time going to court because the court is going to rule. The court is going to rule with what is in the act. What needs to be fixed?
The act is silent on that, Obi.
Hold on. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed by lawmakers because it was something that certainly they admit during their putting this thing together. So you don't have to go to any court. It is absolutely clear.
Obi, I disagree with you because right now in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, if this is not sorted, it is going to be difficult for the mayor to rule because the mayor does not have any majority that on any vote that he can change or do anything because he doesn't have the majority. So there's going to be a problem.
Hold on. Hold on. In Kingston and St. Andrew, there is no majority by way of vote, by way of number of councillors.
And that was settled by the popular vote.
Hold on now. It is the fact of the matter, and sometimes we basically need to give something, whichever political side we're on. The fact of the matter is that here all the governance of the Clarendon Parish Council must take place now. Joel Williams, who is the mayor there, and Cian Barneswell, who is the minority leader, they now need to come together and to ensure that the committees are chaired equally or whatever ratio they decide on.
But that's the problem, Obi. That's what Cian Barneswell was asking for, that a discussion be had now to how the council is going to manage. And the present mayor is refusing to have any of that discussion.
That's where the discussion needs to go, because when it goes to the court, it's not going to change the situation.
No, but Obi, if the court makes a ruling, if the court Obi, if the court make a ruling, the ruling must be abided by. Or you mean the court not going to make a difference?
I am simply saying to you, Colin, that if the numbers, the court is not going to be sitting in the council on a daily basis.
But when the court makes a ruling, Obi, the court must be abided by.
Colin, please just allow me to develop a point. You're being a very poor host this morning,
No,
sir.
man,
Please
but you're pointless, brother. You are trying to tell the listeners that if the court makes a ruling, then the ruling won't be abided by.
I am not saying any such thing.
But you are saying it doesn't make no sense for go to court.
And if you listen, you will hear. I am simply saying to you that when the court decides, all the court is going to do is to ratify what is in the act. What is in the act not going to change the number? What needed to... Hold on, Colin, just allow me to finish.
No, man.
I'm going to allow you to speak.
Obi, no, you don't allow me to speak. I may allow you to speak. I am the host, so I may allow you to speak.
And I'm begging you to allow me to speak.
But what I'm trying to say to you, Obi, if the court ratify what is there now and said this man is the mayor, then that goes forward.
The court doesn't need to ratify to say that it is the mayor. By way of the act itself, it speaks to that. Joel Williams is the mayor, and you can't remove him. You can't remove him like that. Because even if you go to a no confidence vote, Joel is going to be the person who have the casting vote, and he's not going to vote against himself. What needs to be done, Colin? And sometimes they say, sometimes we have to make up our mind, as to whether or not we are governing on the people's side, or we just want some power. And I'm saying this very, very stridently. And I know that people from whatever side is going to come at me for this. But I'm saying it straight because I keep on saying that I have one side, and it's on the side of the people. That's the constituency that I serve when I'm speaking on these matters publicly. The fact is that what needs to be done is for decent men and women in the Clarendon Parish Council need to sit down and say, here what happened. Now that we have a tight situation there, let us see how we work out the committees that is here. And Joel Williams, who is the mayor, owe it to the people of the parish of Clarendon to take that on board and to sit down with Sean Barneswell and work that through.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
The laws of the Roper says that at the end of a general election.
Yes.
Did it say general or it says an election?
General election. General local election.
You're sure it says general or it says at the end of an election?
General local election, I think that's what it says.
And you're not sure if it said general or if it says
I don't
election.
have the document in front of
All
me
right.
right now.
So the point I'm making, at the end of a general or the end of an election, if there is a tie, the side that have the popular vote will decide the mayor, and the side that have the less vote gets the deputy mayor. Right? So in February, at the end of the election, the GLP had 12 and the PNP had 10. So the GLP formed the mayor.
Yes.
The
GLP got the mayor.
GLP formed the mayor, sorry. At the end of the by-election, that situation has changed. The fact now is that the PNP have 11 councillors and the GLP have 11. The PNP have the popular vote. I am putting it to you that there's nothing in the law that speaks to that situation.
It does, and it speaks to a gent. Hold on, Colin.
Hold on, man. The question may I ask is a question may I ask you, so you're gonna get to speak. Tell me what in the law speaks to that change after a by-election.
Speak to what change?
The change of the present situation, the change of the previous situation to the present. I am saying to you that nothing about that is in the law. The law is silent on that.
Hold on, Colin. It speaks to a stay of execution after a by-election where it remains a tie, as to say that the mayor, the sitting mayor, is protected under the present situation.
But Obi,
hold on, Colin. It goes further. It goes further to address. It goes further to address the 12-month situation, the 1-year situation, as to when you can move a no confidence vote against the mayor as well.
That's different, Obi. That 1 year. Hold on a little bit. Hold on, man. Hold on a little bit. That 1 year that you speak to is under any other condition. If you choose the mayor today, even if the GLP of the 12 or 15 and wanted to move him, they can't move him before a year under those circumstances. You can't move a no confidence motion under a year against the mayor. I am still suggesting to you. I am still suggesting to you that this position of the by-election causing a tie is not in the law, and there's nothing in there on that.
It speaks to what you're talking about speak to a situation after a general local government election, Colin.
You can't move on no confidence vote
No,
within a year
hold on,
after election.
Colin, let's not done up the people we are listening.
I'm not done up the people. There's nothing in the law about the by-election and equal in the council.
We're not talking about the situation as it relates to the no confidence. We're talking about the situation that after the general elections, when you have a popular vote with whichever side, that if there's a tie, it is a no-brainer that that side get the mayor. When you go to a by-election, there's a different situation.
And
the
you
mayor
are
that is in place stands.
Where is that in the law, Obi? Tell me which part of the law that there.
All right. You have it in front of you?
No.
You're sitting down. I'm on the road in my car.
No, I don't have
Maybe
it
you
in
can
front
pull
of
it.
me.
Good. So when you get the opportunity, you pull it and look at it.
I don't need to pull it. I know it's not there.
This one, the PNP will embarrass themselves if they go to court on it, because the court is going to rule exactly what it is, and Joel Williams will remain as the mayor.
All right, my boss.
It can't be power at all costs for no side at all. All right?
I don't think it's about power at all costs.
Similarly, Colin, as I said, as I'm going to say, here is it now, as it relates to the JLT. On the other hand, the indecent situation that the Prime Minister entered into in bringing back Marissa Dalrymple. See, yesterday, based on the court, it's coming back to haunt them. Nothing has changed. Why Marissa resigned? The Prime Minister, with this indecency, bring her back. The court basically said that she must face criminal charges. She have a case to answer.
That is another issue that we need to put on the table. It is egg in the face of the labor rights.
Absolutely.
All over their faces.
And more for the chief servant. The
all over their faces.
Himself. Let's lay the blame exactly.
But I guess
Obi,
I guess they don't care. I guess they didn't care because they must know that this was possible. So I guess they don't give one iota what people want to think. To hell with the people of Jamaica, where them want to think of for them business. We are bring back Dalrymple at the cost of the taxpayers spending $30 million to bring her back. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, and Colin, you know, we could basically argue the fact that Mrs. Dalrymple think it was so egregious and untenable for her to stay. When there was a defense being put up to say she was charged under the law, wrong section of the law and whatever. Know that the court has ruled and said no, not so at all.
You hear what the judge said?
Case for you to answer.
You hear what the judge said? It's almost impossible.
I hear you, Colin. But I'm saying that probably now is really the right time that Marissa needs to step aside. So could we see another resignation down there in South Trelawney?
No time. That will never happen. little more Obi. Bless up yourself.
Bless up. One love.
Yeah, man. I disagree on the part about the local government. I want to see that enforced. Final call this morning. Talk to me.
Yeah, brethren.
Yeah.
Nothing coming from Conrad and Brian, man. The comments that he's making is so off that it is not funny.
Yeah,
with
man,
respect to the media tip. It's so off.
The law is silent. I am sure that the law is silent on it.
But remember that, it is silent, but make that point. He is not going to tell you how the court is going to rule. Oh, he must do that. That makes sense to you because to me, it comes like say is the arbiter of court ruling. And you're right, the law is silent. And look here, a precedent was set in the KSAMC already, where the things was tied, and the mayor was determined based on the popular vote.
No, but what he's saying, right, is that is the end That is at the end of a general election. And Gary Gordon, the local government election, is also a general election. General means for the entire country. So the general local government election, and you have the general parliamentary election. So yes, it is general. So that happens at the end of the general local government election. What he's saying that when it comes down to a by-election that brings the tie, it does not say the same thing. And I am saying to him that it doesn't say the same thing, but the truth is it doesn't say anything as it relates to that. So that was basically something that was left out when the law was done. And therefore, it ought to go to court that the precedents, until the legislatures do some work and fix that, it must go to court to fix this situation. Right. All right, my brother?
Fine. But you said, but it has to be, but he said it doesn't have to go to court.
Yeah.
But it has still remain silent, so that makes sense to me.
It must go to court, and the court ruling must be obeyed by all parties involved.
Yeah.
All right,
so I don't see his point, brother.
Yeah, man, cool. Knockins King.
Yes, good morning.
Quick and fast.
Good morning to you. Yeah. What I want to ask Morgan, you see, why they keep repeating what Jeanette Calder said? Why they don't say it's Pamela Monroe Ellis said, and she's just repeating it? Why they don't say that?
We're going to deal with him on that Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we take him on Pandende.
And the next thing, with the permanent secretary, because him put in our mouth. If the permanent secretary is responsible for the appropriation of account, and we hear Flavor Williams say every month them get the report, then why is it after 4 months when it's supposed to be submitted, it cannot be submitted?
But Flavor can't talk, brother. Not? Remember, say Flavor come out of the Ministry of Education, and it's $902 billion them accountable for, you know.
Yes, but I know she can't talk, but she put her foot in her mouth and say, yes, that's what's happening. So I'm saying to her, why is it that those paperwork is not turned over? And then why is it no Flavor Williams? If you say that, why you don't tell the people that for not turn it over, it's breaking the law, you want the information minister? Why you keep saying, oh, they're a little bit behind? It's breaking the law.
And people forgot jail for it.
And people forgot jail. So this is the question. Who is holding them accountable?
Nobody.
And stop telling, oh yes, but hear what they're saying. We're putting in more checks and balances. Why are you putting in more checks and balances when all that here is not working?
You know, your man
said the same thing.
You know, you say system did to protect Norman Brown and Andrew Wellness.
No, but this is the thing that he's forgetting. There is no checks and balances between Norman Brown and Andrew Wellness because Norman Brown report to Andrew Wellness. And this is the only thing I disagree with you on SHACKA. You see, in Jamaica, everybody know everybody, right?
Yeah.
But it's full time now. When a position is being offered, it's just people's resume. I don't want no prime minister, no member of parliament telling me that, oh, I picked this man because I know him. No. Give me 10 other people with the same resume.
And who choose?
We pick the best one.
And who must choose?
We pick the best one.
We who?
Because whether it's a board, but not him. Not him. Because if you know somebody, I believe if you know somebody, you should automatically recruit yourself. Or that person should be disqualified. So in order not to disqualify that person, give somebody else a fair chance, but cannot be picking people because that's putting people in a position where it's questionable. And we should not put people in questionable positions because we don't know. They could say, oh, we're not going to rob or we're not going to do things for our friends, but they might well do it.
All right, my brother, respect.
Experienced that a lot of time. All right, cool.
All right. Viewers, listeners, thank you very much this morning. Thanks to all the people in the chat room. Thanks to Marlon Morgan for coming on. Thanks to Cian Barneswell. This has been Talk to Me on Portland Spice TV. Remember now, we have Christmas cake for sale. The video is right here on Portland Spice TV. Watch up the video. Call the number. Get your Christmas cake. We have the best Christmas cake right around the place. Big up on yourself. One love, my people. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace now and forevermore. Until we meet again Tuesday night, remember, Marlon Morgan say I come back. We are carrying back from 8 o'clock because we have questions. Listen for the answers. Give thanks. One love.